Hello and welcome to the University of South Carolina. Today you're going to learn about the Honor Code. The Honor Code is a set of rules you must follow when completing assignments and exams. Not following these rules impacts your reputation, your integrity, and the fairness for all Carolinians at the university. There are 4 rules that make up the Honor Code: plagiarism, cheating, falsification, and complicity. You're going to learn about each of these rules today. Let's first start with plagiarism. Plagiarism is the use of work or ideas without acknowledging or citing the author of the work or ideas. This typically applies to any written work that you do at the university. This may also include any presentations that you do in class that include someone else's idea or work. Some examples of this include providing the wrong citation for someone else's work. Each class will require a different citation style. Some of those styles include MLA or APA. If you're unsure which writing style you should be using in your class, be sure to ask your professor. All written work will require a citation. Additionally, using someone else's work without saying where you got it from is plagiarism. Even if you rewrite it in your own words, you still need to cite the source. Some strategies to help you avoid breaking this rule: create a timeline for projects and papers. Organize your sources. Additionally, there's an online resource called Purdue OWL Writing Lab. Purdue OWL will help you to learn how to cite your work properly. Be sure to visit Purdue OWL anytime you write a paper to check and make sure you've written your sources appropriately. So why is this important? It's important because writing someone else's idea in your own words and citing your work properly shows that you understand the material. If your entire paper contains direct quotes, that does not show your professor that you understand the material that you're writing about. So it's important to use other sources throughout your paper, but to put it in your own words and still cite that information. Additionally, if you do not cite your work, you may receive a failing grade for the assignment. That's why it's always important that you remember to cite your work, even if it's just a short homework assignment. Lastly, if you do not cite your work, you are stealing from the person whose ideas or words you are using. They own those ideas. Therefore, you must cite that work. Let's move on to the second policy: cheating, working with another student, or using an unacceptable source on an assignment or test. Let's learn a little bit more about what cheating means. Copying someone else's homework or test answers violates this rule. If your professor does not tell you that you can work with another student on a test or an assignment, do not work with another student. You must have permission from your professor to work with another student inside of the classroom or outside of the classroom. You are not allowed to use a cell phone or notes during most of your exams. Even if you use your cell phone to text a family member or a friend, you're still violating this rule. Do not take your cell phone out of your pocket during an exam. There are ways to avoid the cheating policy. Prior to your exam, arrive early, put your cell phone and notes in your backpack, and do not sit next to your friends. If you need help on an assignment, contact or email your professor for help. You can also visit the Student Success Center for help with managing your time. Most students who violate this rule do so because they did not budget their time well and they rushed through the assignment. Set yourself up for success and schedule an appointment with the Student Success Center. It's important to protect your work. Once you share work with another student, you can no longer make sure that they will not use your work as their own. Also, cheating breaks trust with your professor. If you cheat in their class, they're less likely to trust the work you do in that class. It's important to build a strong relationship with your professor. Our next policy is falsification. The definition of falsification is lying to your professor or a university employee. Some of your classes may require you to sign an attendance sheet. Other classes may require you to use a device called a clicker to click into class to indicate that you are present. If one of your friends or another student cannot make it to class that day, you are not allowed to sign that student in for class. You are also not allowed to have another person sign you in for class. Doing so is a violation of this rule. Lying to your professor about doing work is a violation of this policy and may result in a suspension from the university. Some strategies for avoiding violating this rule. Be honest with your professor. Communicate with them if you have a problem. If you're worried you cannot complete an assignment in time, review your professor's late assignment policy. And take a minute to think before you act. Again, lying to your professor may result in a suspension from the university. This means you are no longer able to be a student at the University of South Carolina. Also, it's important to always tell the truth. If you lie about your classwork, your degree does not mean as much. Let's move on to our last policy, complicity. Complicity is helping another student violate a rule. Some examples of this include allowing someone to cheat off of you during a test, sharing your homework or assignments with another student, seeing someone cheat or share answers and not telling your professor. Like we discussed earlier, not all professors will allow you to work in groups. If your professor does not tell you that you can work with another student, do not share your work with another student. If you're unsure whether or not you can work with another student on an assignment or test, ask your professor first. Hold your peers accountable when they do not uphold the honor code. Again, if you see someone cheating, you need to tell your professor. Protect your work. This includes taking a test and covering your answers so other people cannot see what you're writing on your exam. And again, if you're unsure if you can work in a group, ask your professor to clarify the rules for group work. So why does this matter? If you help someone else cheat, you are breaking this rule too. Emailing or showing someone your work may be a violation of this rule. Always ask your professor if you are unsure about what you can do in your class. Let's talk a bit more about strategies and resources to help you avoid violating the rules in the honor code. As I stated earlier, using the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab is a really great resource to help you ensure you're citing your work properly. Again, any time you use someone else's work or ideas, you must provide a citation, even if you put that work in your own words. You can also watch the Academic Integrity tutorial on our website. The tutorial will go over the policies again and to help prepare you to do your work with integrity. There are also several on-campus resources. You can visit the Writing Center. The Writing Center can review your paper and help with any citation issues you may have. You can make an appointment at the Student Success Center. You can get help with a class or meet with a tutor to help you better understand the work that you're doing. The Student Success Center is located in the Thomas Cooper Library. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the Honor Code. Next, you're going to take a short quiz to help ensure that you understand the rules that are being discussed and that you can do your best work here at the University of South Carolina.